Hello, and welcome to Women Speak, a production of the Women's Resource Center in Wayne. I'm your host, Mojdeh Keykhah, and each month I focus on a topic that is of interest to women and the people they care for. This interview is being conducted via Zoom during the Coronavirus Crisis 2020 on MLTV Mainline Network. Today, Women Speak is happy to have family law attorney Kimberly Dudic. Ms. Dudick is currently an associate attorney at Saul Levitt, LLC, and has devoted her practice to all aspects of family law since 2009, focusing on the negotiation and litigation of property division, child and spousal support, custody, and pre and post nuptial agreements in Philadelphia, Montgomery, Chester, Delaware, Bucks, and surrounding counties. As a member of the family law section of the Pennsylvania and Montgomery County Bar Associations, she has lectured on topics directly relevant to family law practitioners. A strong advocate for children, Ms. Dudick received specialized training at the Montgomery County Child Advocacy Project, where she volunteers her time to provide legal representation for abused and neglected children. She also provides pro bono and low cost family law consultations through the Women's Resource Center in Wayne and the Domestic Violence Legal Center in Harrisburg. Additionally, she serves as the coordinator of the Women's Resource Center Family Law Program. Ms. Dudick received her law degree from Widener University School of Law in 2009 and completed a program in international family law at the United Nations in Geneva, Switzerland. Kim, I am excited and honored that you are joining Women Speak today.
Thank you for asking me. Thank you for having me.
We're so delighted to have you because you coordinate our family law program, and it's exciting for us to be able to explain this program in more detail to our viewers. Can you tell us about the family law program at WRC?
Sure. The Women's Resource Center has a legal program that has been in place for much longer than I've been an attorney. What they offer is there's two aspects to the legal program. First is the aspect that we offer legal nights, consultations. We offer 6 different times throughout each month that women can schedule for a 30-minute consultation for $10 and meet with one of our family law attorneys to be able to find out any answers or any questions that they may have regarding their situations. Some of those nights we can host up to 8 women. And then we've offered, out of those 6 timeframes, we offer 2-day times. So the first Monday of the month, we have a time slot from 10 to 12 where we offer 4 women time to have a consult with an attorney. And then the evening programs offer up to 8 women. The second aspect of this program is that we have affiliate attorneys. And what these are attorneys that we've vetted, that I personally have had cases with, that are just really great and knowledgeable in family law. And what they do is they sign up to become an affiliate attorney with the Women's Resource Center. So when the Women's Resource Center refers clients to them, they offer a lower rate for consultation and also a lower rate for their hourly fees.
That is really fantastic to know about for our audience. And also, with respect to your involvement with the program, can you tell us how you got involved with WRC?
Sure. It was probably my 3rd or 4th year of being an attorney. One of the attorneys I worked for actually volunteers with the Women's Resource Center and was an attorney that did legal nights and would volunteer her time. She really encouraged me to get involved. And so I started getting involved with the Women's Resource Center. I would do, every few months that you would be asked to volunteer for one of the nights. And I started out that way. And then I started getting to know some of the women who worked at the Women's Resource Center. And they were looking to start a program for the legal day, which is the 10 to 12 time slot. Because there's some days that women can't do it in the evenings when their husbands are home and they're not sure they want to leave the house to ask these questions, we needed to offer them some daytime. And as a working attorney, that's a hard thing to give up. I mean, that's for 2 hours every month that I have to take time away from my practice. But this was a big deal. So I got involved with doing the first Monday of every month. I offer 2 hours of my time, and at that point, that's all I was doing. And then I was asked to become the legal coordinator. And what I do now is basically schedule all the attorneys for these programs. We make sure that we have enough attorneys to fill whatever slots that we need for these women.
And when you say you so generously offer pro bono your services for 2 hours, that's 4 women that you would see during those 2 hours individually. Is that right?
Yes. So each woman gets 30 minutes. So if they can't meet with me that Monday, then they can meet with someone in the evenings, or we also offer a legal day on the second Friday of every month.
And during this pandemic, we've switched over to virtual for the meetings.
Yes.
And how does that look like for you? Is that phone or Zoom, or how does that look like?
So for me personally, it's over the phone. But I know some of our attorneys do offer Zoom consultations. And the other legal day program, the second Friday of every month, I know they do Zoom. So if someone is more comfortable doing Zoom, we'll schedule them for that second Friday during the daytime, as opposed to the time with me. We allow our attorneys to kind of decide how they're comfortable doing it too. And that will allow, whether they want to send a link to the women. But it just depends on the women and what situation they're in, really. But we work with whatever we can do at this point. It's kind of just a lot of compromising right now.
WRC is lucky to have 26 volunteer attorneys working with you on this program, and also 16 affiliate attorneys, which you've already mentioned what their role is. I was wondering if you could speak to why family law, this type of program, is needed in the community. Why is WRC offering this program?
So in family law, there's not very many programs out there that represent clients for a reduced rate or offer, a half-hour consultation essentially for free. And I think the need for it is significant. There's just a lot that people don't understand and don't know, and they don't understand their rights when it comes to divorce or custody or support. And even just little things like finding out their rights is something that I think is really, really beneficial. The Women's Resource Center, this program is, in my opinion, this program is phenomenal. It really helps so many women just understand where they are, what they're doing, let's say somebody does file for divorce, what does that look like? There's just so many unknowns when it comes to family law that it's such a rare program that there's not very many other programs out there that's like this, at least that I've seen. And don't get me wrong, there could be, I've just not in this area have seen them or have had experience with them. I know that there's, legal aid, and there's other attorneys services that will help represent clients, but there's a certain income that they have to be below in order to qualify for that information and qualify for any of that. So what the Women's Resource Center is, we don't care about your income. It could be significant, it could be nothing, it could be wherever in between. But if you're coming in with some questions, we're going to do our best to help with as much as possible.
And speaking to that, what are some of the clients' needs that you've seen to see a family lawyer at WRC for divorce, custody, or support issues?
So, like I said, a lot of times the women that we see just don't know where to start. They don't know what their rights are. They don't know what they should be looking for and paying attention to. They don't, there's a lot of people out there who want to give advice that are not family law attorneys. So what we offer and what we're able to see is that there's a lot of women who are at a position where they're just not sure what they want to do. They're not ready to file for divorce or custody or support. They just want to know, if they get to that point, what does it look like for them? And so a lot of times women come in and they have no idea where to even start. So I think a lot of times we have that plan for them. We show them, like, you should start looking at your finances. What are your monthly bills? What are your monthly income? What's it look like? Those type of things, because sometimes they don't have that information. And so we like to just kind of start them in the right direction and show them, look, this is where, if you were to get divorced, this is where we would like you to start. So I think that's, we just have a lot more clients coming in trying to figure out what it even looks like for them.
And the program itself, being a lawyer-driven program, and a local lawyer-driven program, does have potential for conflict of interest. How does the WRC and your coordination of the family law program avoid that?
Sure. So attorneys have attorney-client privilege immediately upon talking to a client. So what that means is that if any of our attorneys have talked to somebody's spouse or significant other, we cannot meet with them. So what we do is we make sure, like I said, I have certain attorneys scheduled for every night or every day. And we get the names of the clients and we send them to each of the attorneys so that they do a background check, a conflict check, in order to make sure that there's no conflict. And there have been many times where I've gotten an email back from an attorney saying, I've met with this, X, Y, and Z spouse. I can't meet with them, so we schedule them with the other attorney. So right now, the way that the program works is that, let's say we have 8 women, I divvy up 4 women to each attorney and tell them that's who they're supposed to call. So that way, if somebody can't talk to them, it's easy to assign them to the other attorney. Or if both of them couldn't talk to them, we would probably reschedule them, or I would take over and call them.
And what has been your experience with the pandemic? What have you been seeing happening during this time, especially with women coming to see family lawyers at WRC?
So, as most people could guess, things are hard for everyone right now. It's financially, they're in a much difficult positions. Emotionally, those who are in an abusive relationship are exposed to it more at this point. So we see a lot more of that. I think the problem that we have is that there's no privacy for these women either. So they can't get out of their house to go meet with an attorney. So we have them calling, or we call them, and sometimes they can't pick up, and then we have to reschedule them. And it's been, I think, really hard more for the women than the attorneys. We'll do what we can to accommodate. But it's been I think a little bit more difficult just trying to figure out and navigate the program. But I think that we've been doing, my attorneys have been working hard and been more than willing to take on whatever they can.
And with respect to the meetings, the sessions, we often recommend when people call into the Women's Resource Center that they take a look at our Guide to Family Law in Pennsylvania, which is published by the center and is offered at $20 a piece. What do you know about the legal guide and how it helps people when they meet with a family lawyer for the first time at the Women's Resource Center, perhaps?
The legal guide was actually written by many of our attorneys. Throughout the last couple of years, we've had attorneys sign up to update it based on the new laws that come out. What the legal guide does, and is kind of lays out just the basics for some people. Sometimes they don't know what it means to start with support. Where do they go to file for support? What do they do, when there's a support conference? Some of this information is in the legal guide. So we really encourage people to kind of look at that. either before or after meeting with an attorney, because sometimes it triggers some more questions or some more, it triggers something that you may want to discuss with an attorney. We don't have a certain amount of times that you're allowed to come to the Women's Resource Center. So if you meet with an attorney, you get the book, and then you come up with more questions that you're like, okay, I need to understand this. You can reschedule a different time to meet with these attorneys too. I do want to say that the women's that the legal guide is available on digital too for I think $10. So if people don't want to have a hard copy in their home, they're still in the home with their spouse and they're not sure they're ready to tell them that they're looking into this stuff, you can do a digital copy, which is something you can keep on your computer or phone or whatever.
So, for yourself personally, how did you get involved in volunteering for the Women's Resource Center and other places in law before you even became a lawyer? Were you interested in these issues prior?
Sure. Yeah. So when I was in law school, I actually did an internship with the YWCA Legal Center in Harrisburg. And what they did was they represented clients in divorce and custody matters and protection from abuse matters. So while I was in law school, I already had an interest of getting involved in programs where, there was a lot of domestic violence, there's emotional abuse. I just have always had a desire to get involved in that aspect. And I started right away in law school. And then when I got out of law school, there was a few years, that I was feeling my way through the system and learning how to be a lawyer. And so then, when the opportunity arose, I jumped onto it. I think the Women's Resource Center it's really incredible what they offer. And I'm very lucky to be a part of it.
And we're so lucky to have you, Kim, along with the other lawyers and affiliate lawyers. And we do have quite a few male lawyers that help us as well.
We do. We have a lot of men attorneys who are very sympathetic and very, I get very, very few complaints about my attorneys because, and I call them my attorneys because they're the attorneys that I deal with, daily trying to schedule, and I'm just my list of attorneys. So I'm very lucky to have men and women who are very sympathetic, who understand the sensitivity of the situation with a lot of these women that are coming in. And I am very grateful. So every time I can, I try to schedule one man and one woman, because sometimes, the clients aren't comfortable talking to a man about their situation. So we have to make sure that they're comfortable in who they're talking to too. So we do tell them that there's a man and a woman if there's two, if there's a man scheduled, just because we like to make sure that they understand that they may be talking to a man, and if they're uncomfortable with that, to let us know.
There are quite a few women, I believe the percentages are in the upper 80s and upper 90%, that feel they can take the next step after visiting with one of the attorneys. Do you, in your personal experience with the women coming to the Women's Resource Center, what level of understanding do they have generally about family law? And when they are finished with the 30 minutes, which they can repeat, they can come back. Is that right? They can actually come back to the
we've had many women come back numerous times. Sure. Mm-hmm.
So what levels do you think that they would have coming in and then having one or two sessions with a family law attorney? What would be their level of understanding of what the next step would be?
So generally when people come to their first session with one of us, there's not very much knowledge. It's almost an information dump on these poor clients. We have 30 minutes to get as much information to them as possible. And that's the majority of the women. Then there's the other aspect where, these women are already in a divorce proceedings and they're already going through this process. So their questions are a lot more specific and a lot more directed to what they actually need to do next moving forward. But the majority of the women are coming in with very little to no information about family law, other than what their friends have told them or they've Googled or something like that. So what we do is we try to give them the right information based on which county they're in, what their case looks like, what their finances look like. So it's 30 minutes flies by. So I'm again really proud and excited that those are the numbers that we have as clients leaving saying, I think I could take those next steps.
And what do you think about the kinds of concepts that the clients come in with? Do you think that there is a part of the whole consultation where there's a managing of expectations?
Oh, definitely. Um, you have clients who want to come in and they want to hear you say that their husband's the worst person, their wife's the worst person, their significant other is the worst person, and there's no way they'll get custody with their children. Unfortunately, that's just not a reality. In some cases, absolutely, but in very little cases will the father or mother or a significant other have time with their kids. So you have to learn, as sensitive as these situations are, you also have to know that we're going to be honest with you and we're going to tell you where the courts are leaning for a majority of these cases, whether it be custody, support, and divorce. So I think, what our attorneys, the complaints I get, I think are a lot about clients understanding that what we're doing is we're trying to be honest with you. We are trying to be sensitive about your situation, but also manage your expectations and help you understand that we don't want you going into a situation blindly with high expectations that may not be a reality for you.
And the Women's Resource Center, how do they get in touch with someone to make an appointment? Do they call you or do they call the WRC?
So that the women should all call the women or clients should all call the WRC. They have a helpline that will schedule you, will talk to you about which days we're available. We have 4 evenings throughout the month and 2 daytimes throughout the month. So and because it's all over the phone right now or over Zoom, you have your pick of the nights or days. I mean, it's open and free for all. Usually we have it a specific county for different days and evenings, but because it's all virtual right now, you can choose whatever evening or days that we're available to help you. But yeah, we don't have the clients contact the attorneys directly. They contact the helpline, and the helpline coordinator is unbelievably helpful. She's probably one of the hardest working people I know. And she makes my life and my job a lot easier. So then they get me the names of the clients and I pass them on to the attorneys to make sure that everybody is good to go.
And in addition to the 30-minute consultation, there is also the opportunity to get a referral to an affiliate attorney. Could you describe what that is like?
So when you get a referral to an affiliate attorney, what the affiliate attorney does is they offer you a $40 consultation for an hour, which is significantly lower than most attorneys would offer. And then if you decide to retain them, you also are offered a lower rate at the attorney's choosing. So we have different rates for each attorney, and they are less than their normal hourly rate because of their affiliation with the Women's Resource Center. So what you do is you get names of these attorneys and we forward them on to you or the clients, and then you can reach out to whoever you like. We also have the list of affiliated attorneys on the website too, which will help a lot of people go online and find out about these attorneys.
I think what's remarkable is that there are so many local attorneys that serve the county that the clients would be in. So you have the 5 southeastern Pennsylvania counties, and we have attorneys that serve throughout those counties. Do like yourself, are there other attorneys that serve in more than one county that can be lawyers for more than one county?
Sure. Yeah. Most of our attorneys practice in several counties in this area. They may not do all 5 of the surrounding counties, but they certainly practice in at least more than one county. So like I said, we have some really great attorneys who are involved, really experienced attorneys to attorneys who have been out of law school for 10 or 11 years. We've got some really great attorneys who are giving up their time to help these women.
That is so great to hear, especially during a pandemic when, as we heard in a previous Women Speak interview, that some of the courts or court proceedings may be delayed or courts may be closed during this time. Thank you so much, Kim, for your expertise, experience, and knowledge sharing today. The WRC is also grateful for all of your service that you do for our organization.
Thank you so much for having me. I consider myself lucky to be involved with this program. I've learned more as an attorney than I have probably practicing on the side. So I really, really appreciate being a part of this.
Well, we're so appreciative for you. And to our viewers, thank you for watching Women Speak. I look forward to bringing you more in-depth conversations. For more information about WRC's programs and services, and for our helpline number, please visit www.womensresourcecenter.net.